So to start with, we're going to start with a kind of grounding practice and a self-compassionate break. So making the choice whether you want to sit up or you might want to lie down. You could also come to standing if you wanted to. We'll be doing this practice for about 15 minutes. So yeah, just making the choice how you want to be and making sure that you've got whatever you need to be comfortable. Cushions and blankets. And so that the spine can be lifted and kind of upright, and the head can find its place sort of balanced at the top of the spine, maybe with the back of the head resting back and the chin just tucked in a little bit. And making the choice whether you'd like to close your eyes or whether you'd like to just lower the eyes and have a soft focus forwards and down. And remembering that anything that I suggest is merely a kind of suggestion or an invitation, but throughout these practices, really listening to your own body in terms of what feels right for you, making any adaptations or pausing and just connecting back in with the feet or the breath whenever you need to. So we're going to start by letting our awareness drop down through the body. And we might do this a bit more systematically this evening. So maybe starting with your awareness in the head and the face. It's often where our awareness is held or gets caught up in. So let's just start with the awareness around the head and the face, checking in and feeling how that part of our body is right now. And maybe following a breath or imagining a breath flowing in and around this area, the inside of the head and the face. In-breath perhaps bringing a bit of aliveness, out-breath bringing softness, maybe softness around the eyeballs and the eye sockets. Maybe softness around the jaw, tongue in the mouth, teeth. And a sense of kind of letting go, particularly as we breathe out, letting go of any sense of holding or tightness around the head and the face. And then we can let our attention gradually drop down from the head to the shoulder girdle, so the breastbone, the collarbone at the front, the shoulder blades, the space between the shoulder blades at the back. Checking in, feeling how this part of our body feels in this moment. And inviting the breath in and around here. Perhaps a sense that as we breathe in and out of each body part, we're allowing the breath to just massage gently the bones and the muscles, the joints and the organs in that part of the body, in and around that part of the body. And then perhaps as the next breath flows out, we can just drop down a little bit further to the mid-back, the solar plexus at the front, perhaps the ribs at the sides. A moment to check in here. How's this part of us doing? Can we invite the breath in and out from this area of the body? What does the in-breath bring? What quality or feel does the out-breath give permission for? And then dropping our awareness down a bit further to the lower abdomen, the back, the lower back, tail and sacrum area. Breath comes and goes, massages this part of the body. And then dropping down into the base, the bowl of the pelvis, hip sockets, perhaps even noticing that connection with whatever we're sitting on. Might notice that if you've just eaten something, you can have a sense of that, a feel of that. Maybe there's even a bit of gurgling around the lower abdomen, intestines held in the bowl of the pelvis. So a nice breath in, a nice breath out, just to bring of ease and softness. And then dropping down through the legs, the upper legs, thighs and buttocks and knees. Down into the lower legs, calves, shin bones, ankles. And then all the way down into the feet, noticing which part of your feet are in contact with the ground. How does that meeting feel? Feet and ground, is it soft or hard? Maybe there's a warmth or a coolness there. Pressure down through each foot, is that even or different from side to side? And the breath, can it flow in and all the way down to the feet? Perhaps bringing a sense of openness and softness to the intricate little bones and the muscles that move them. And maybe there's a sense that we can really drop down into our feet and the roots down into the earth below. Knowing that we can always come back to the feet whenever we need to. If we feel a little bit wobbly or a bit lost, maybe bringing our attention all the way in and down to the feet can be a way of feeling a bit more stable and connected again. So then from here we're going to open up to the body as a whole. We've sort of checked in with each part as we've dropped down more physically, but opening up not just to the physical feel of the body, but also how's this body feeling mentally? What's the weather pattern of our thinking mind? Sometimes quite thick and maybe quite loud, shouty thoughts. Sometimes much more whispery and soft, quiet. So what weather pattern is here for us right now? And what emotional tone is here, maybe accompanying some of those thoughts? Perhaps there's some sticky or tricky, strong emotions coming and going. Over this week we've had not just the COVID-19 strangeness and difficulties to manage, but there's also been more emotive issues around George Floyd and Black Lives Matter's movement. So we might notice that that's something around that is still here with us. Maybe there was a wanting to join in with some of that and not feeling able to because of the restrictions. So this can sometimes be a mixture of emotions, conflictions. So noticing that if that rings true for you. And also the energetic feel. Sometimes we can feel heavy and sort of tired, other times more light and fizzy and energized. So at this point in the day, what's the energetic feel? And as we move into this self-compassionate break practice, I'll ask you to open up and maybe turn towards something maybe that you notice right here now that's a bit tricky, emotionally or physically or mentally or energetically. And if there's nothing showing up right now, then you might like to reflect back over the last few days if there's something that you struggled with a little bit in some way. And the invitation is to pick something that's not too difficult, too heavy or emotive, but maybe something that's feels okay to turn towards in this session. So once we've got a sense of something, can we just spend a moment, as I say, turning towards it gently and exploring it just as it is. Perhaps exploring where and how it's felt in the body. Maybe it has a shape. Maybe there's a colour to it, or maybe a sort of visual element to it. Maybe there's a kind of movement. Does it sort of come and go, or does it sort of stay very static? Remembering that we can always come back to just focusing on the breath or the feeling of the feet on the floor whenever we need to. As we turn towards this thing and explore it, we can just say to ourselves, this is a moment of difficulty. Maybe this is a moment of suffering. A sense perhaps that this is hard, this hurts in some way. So trying not to push it away, but to open up and recognize it as it is and give it just a little bit of space to be noticed, named, and to be felt. This is the first part of this self-compassionate break, just this idea of opening up and noticing this sense of difficulty or suffering. Breathing in and around whatever we can feel in the body. Just like we did at the beginning, maybe there's a sense that the breath can just massage whatever's here. Maybe give it a sense that it's okay, I'm here with you. And in the second part of this practice, a sense of opening up that we're not on our own with this. So again, whatever words or phrase feel right, perhaps reminding ourselves this is a part of being human. A sense of common humanity that at some point, somewhere, someone else is also suffering in the same or a similar way. And particularly at this time of the pandemic, Black Lives Matter movement, there's quite a lot of people suffering in and around us. So just allowing that, giving ourselves permission to kind of open up to sense that we're not on our own with this. Part of being human and a part of as humans trying to be the best we can, and sometimes that's where this suffering comes out of. So there's this group here that we're practicing with as friends and family members of local communities and beyond. Breath is here, feet on the floor. You might like to just bring a hand or bring both hands to the heart space, just that we can perhaps focus a little bit more in and around this heart space, checking in how it's feeling. Breathing in and out of this space. The openness of the in-breath, the softness of the out-breath. And as we focus in on the heart space, this third part of this practice is check in and see what's needed. What do I need right now to take care of myself in this moment of difficulty? Maybe there are some kind words that might be helpful to bring a bit of self-kindness. Whatever feels right, a suggestion is, may I accept myself just as I am. May I care for myself tenderly in this moment. May I have patience or strength to deal with this in the best way that I can. And maybe there's a phrase that rings true for you, giving yourself that message. I'd like to repeat that a couple of times, perhaps with the breath. And if it feels hard to find the right words in this last phase, you might like to imagine a close friend or a dear loved one here with you in this moment. And perhaps imagine what they might say to you. And then using those words to give yourself that kindness and that compassion that is needed right now. And then you might like to release the hands, just let them come and rest again. Perhaps just bring the awareness back to the body sitting here. The feel of the body sitting here and the breath flowing in and out of this whole body space. So a kind of wider focus, feet on the floor, seat of the chair or cushion, where the hands meet the legs, the thighs, and the length all the way up to the top of the head. And I'm going to ring the sound of the bowl to bring this self-compassionate break to a close. So just allowing the sound to arise and dissolve in the same way that all of these things do.